So you are in college, you are learning. Your brain uses around 20% of all of the calories that you eat every day. And you might even use more than that because your brains are working so hard. So your brain is always on. It's controlling your thoughts, your movements, your breathing, your heartbeat, your senses. And what you eat directly affects the structure and the function of your brain and ultimately your mood. So when we talk about food feeding our soul, our physical, our mental, our social, our well-being, like it really is true that all of that is affected by what we eat every day. So when we think about the foods that we put into our body, we want to focus on those foods. We consider them to be, the terminology is nutrient dense. So when we think about nutrient dense, they have a lot of nutrients per calorie. When we think about low nutrient dense foods, those are somewhat of those more kind of processed foods, maybe higher in saturated fat, trans fat, sugar, those kinds of things. So when we put those low premium fuel, those low nutrient dense foods into our body, it has been seen that those types of diets promote inflammation and oxidative stress, which I'll talk about on the next slide. But those high premium fuels, so fruits and veggies and grains and dairy and proteins, those nutrient dense foods actually nourish our brain, our bodies, and protect us from oxidative stress. So there's a lot going on here. We're not going to get deep into the science, but when we talk about oxidative stress here in the middle, all of the things in the top left make our body, it creates these reactive oxygen species, which are these unhappy, unstable little guys popping around in our body that actually attack our cells. So things like, some things we can't control, so let's control as much of it as we can. Smoking, we can't control the pollution around us. We can control how much pollution we put into the air, hopefully. Our interaction with radiation, how much processed foods we put into our body, UV light, heavy metals, viruses, and metabolism in itself, what our body has to do actually creates some of those reactive oxygen species. But to offset those, we can put in unprocessed foods. So an unprocessed food is anything that comes directly from the ground, from an animal, that didn't require lots of changes to it, processing, to make it into the food it is. So think about like a potato versus potato chips, not processed potato, processed potato chips. But all of those foods, unprocessed foods, vitamins, minerals, they contain antioxidants. So working against all of those reactive oxygen species to keep our cells as healthy as they can be. There's also a thing called the gut-brain axis. So when we talk about our brain health and we talk about our gut, so your gut is kind of everything from essentially like your esophagus all the way down to your stomach into your small and large intestine. But your brain influences how fast or slow food is moving through your body. It affects the balance in your gut. When you are stressed, that is why your gut health is not as happy. So you can see on the right there, when your body is stressed out, which oftentimes you are when you're in grad school, you can't really control it all the time, but hopefully there's some strategies to help with that. But that produces more cortisol. Cortisol leads to inflammation in your gut that can cause bloating, gas, other digestive issues. It can also affect the balance of bacteria in your gut. So in your gut, in your intestines, you have all these little, mostly happy, but sometimes unhappy little microbes in there. And if the stress can create like a dysbiosis, so like you're getting an increase in the bad bacteria, decrease in the good bacteria. So that also leads to digestive problems. And then you kind of go into that fight or flight mode as a body. So that actually slows down your digestion because your body's just trying to figure out what to do with itself and try to focus on the things that need to be focused on first. So that causes food to sit in your stomach longer, leading to discomfort and other digestive issues. So it's all connected. So during this time of your life, for a lot of us, a young adulthood, middle age, these are crucial periods for determining our cognitive health as we age, our chronic disease risk as we age. So everything that we do now is going to make a difference in the future. We may not see all of those negative effects right away, but it is, taking a toll on our bodies as we age. So there's a lot of different kind of eating styles to help lead to the best outcomes that we can in our future. And for these, when we say diet in society, unfortunately, has become reducing calories. Diet, as a dietitian thinks about it, is just the way that you eat, the foods that you choose to put in your body. So the Mediterranean diet always gets at the top of all the lists in terms of kind of the best health outcomes. So, and it's really just eating more plant-based foods, eating less processed foods. Mediterranean diet, a little bit more on the eating less of the red meat, eating more of the fruits and vegetables and whole grains and olive oils and beans and nuts, including physical activity as well. This is a new one. So the MIND diet is a combination of the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. DASH diet, highly focused on fruits and vegetables, a diet that we often go to decrease blood pressure and sodium, improve cardiovascular outcomes, but also very focused on whole grains, berries, nuts, beans, legumes, a little more poultry in this one than the other, and choosing olive oil instead of butter, choosing less fried foods. So again, similarities between all of them. The amount of servings is a little bit different. This is another one that, again, gets a lot of good press, the Nordic diet. So low-fat meats on a smaller amount, higher amounts of fish, higher amounts of whole grains, lots of vegetables. So plant-based foods are really kind of the cornerstone of all of these diets. Then Harvard came out with kind of their version of My Plate. So in America, we have My Plate. My Plate replaced like that food guide pyramid that we used to have, if you remember that. So it's just kind of a visual to kind of think about your day and like how many vegetables and fruits you're getting, whole grains and healthy proteins, including water and including healthy oils. So during the day, at least half of what you eat should be fruits and veg, and then the other half is essentially whole grains and those healthy proteins. But when you are a college student, you have tuition, you have room and board, you have admin fees, you have textbooks, you have technology that you have to buy, you have transportation, you have other personal expenses. And this visual that I found online did not even include food. And unfortunately, food often falls to the bottom of the list because we have to pay for these other things. And sometimes we don't have enough money to afford high quality food or enough food. So hopefully we'll talk through some strategies that give you some ideas on that, because I know it is challenging. So the challenge is to eat healthy. The competitors, limited time, limited budget, limited food access, perhaps limited cooking skills. I know many of you are amazing cooks, and stress. We know that stress is there. So the research shows that 33% of grad students report their physical health as a primary stressor in their lives. 2/3 of grad students report fears about their mental and physical health. There's significant relationships between the total number of hours spent engaged in school-related work and then the negative effect on your physical health. And students report experiencing some sort of digestive distress. Think back to that gut-brain axis that we talked about. 8% of graduate students reported eating 5 or more servings of vegetables and fruits per day. But unfortunately, to kind of show the benefits of fruits and vegetables, research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, subjects who consumed 5 fruits and vegetables a day lived an extra 3 years compared to their non-plant eating counterparts. Spending just 50 cents a day on fruits or vegetables could buy people about a 10% drop in mortality, so extending your life, and 16% reduced risk of heart disease, 18% reduced risk of stroke, 13% reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, 4% reduced risk of cancer, 15% reduction of premature death. So we know that nutrition is related to health, like that goes without saying, but sometimes it's helpful to see the numbers. So just some tips for fruits and vegetables when you're eating on a budget. Buying in-season produce will often cost less, and that's when it also tastes the best. So like the other day, I was at Safeway and they had watermelon and it looked really good. And I knew in my head, like, it's not watermelon season. But I'm like, well, it looks so pretty. I think I'll buy it. And I got it. And it did not taste like anything. Tasted like water. Did not taste like watermelon at all. So you have to buy in season. It is not the season for watermelon. And then that's when you'll also see those particular fruits and vegetables going on sale. So I've included a link to the seasonal produce guide that I can send out as well. Using canned fruits or vegetables is not a bad way to go. Just make sure that they're in 100% fruit juice and then looking for that low sodium or no salt added. Frozen fruits and vegetables, great. As soon as they're picked from the fields, they are flash frozen, and that actually maintains more nutrients than sometimes when the fruits or vegetables are sitting out in the produce section for weeks, they're gradually losing those nutrients as they sit there. So frozen actually can maintain some of that. Some of the ones that last the longest, potatoes, apples, carrots, onions, things like that will last a little bit longer. For your grains, trying to choose whole grains. So whole wheat, looking for that whole when you're looking at a label, checking the ingredient list. Rice and pasta are good budget-friendly options. Oatmeal is a great whole grain, but whole grains are great to include in your daily diet. Beans, peas, and lentils, often less expensive than anything meat-based. If you do buy meat, if you can get like the family size and then freeze, like buying a big thing of chicken and freezing the extra. Choosing lean meats, trying like canned salmon, canned tuna, that saves a lot of money. And eggs. Eggs are gradually coming down in price. They're no longer like $8 to $10 for a dozen like they hit a little bit ago. Low-fat, fat-free milk has just as much calcium as whole and 2% milk. If you do choose plant-based milk, I just included a chart here just to kind of show the differences in calcium and vitamin D compared to dairy milk. As a dietitian, I have no issues with dairy, but I know that some people like to choose alternates to that. So just keep that in mind. Again, I'll send this out, but we want to be sure that you're getting enough of that calcium and vitamin D as well as protein. And you can see that those kind of vary between the different plant-based options. Drinking water, obviously, is going to save a lot of money. Taking that reusable water bottle with you so you don't have to buy water or buy other drinks. Skipping kind of those processed food items. Adding more flavor with herbs and spices, like these Tampico herbs and spices. They're like 99 cents typically at the store. Choosing olive oil, like we said before, instead of butter and cooking with olive oil. This is one that New York Times listed as one of their best value options, this particular brand, because they did a little taste test for the Bertolli came out on top. When you're at the grocery store and looking at price tags, ultimately you want to look at that unit price. So even if something has a cheaper retail price, if they're like, you can see this, 6-ounce yogurt is 72 cents, but I'm charging more per unit than I am if I buy the larger yogurt, pay a little bit more upfront, but then it's going to last me longer. And they will even break this down when something's on sale as well. So then you can see what that unit price changed to. So look for that. When you're looking at ingredient lists, typically the shorter the list, the better, because when you get longer lists, you get a lot of random stuff that you don't even know what it is. If you can't pronounce it or don't even know what it is, not the best option. So look for things like, I know what all these words mean on this package of bread. That would be a better choice. Food labels, look at them. I think the thing I wanted to show you on here is that the new food labels include added sugars. Our old labels did not have that. So this is a comparison of yogurt. So this is plain yogurt, so 0 grams of added sugar. This is a flavored yogurt, so 18 grams of added sugar, which is 36% of your daily value of added sugar, which is a lot. So just keep an eye on those food labels as well. So where to shop? Dollar Tree and Family Dollar. Your dollar stores actually do have food. They often have frozen food and frozen vegetables. They have breakfast cereals, they have oatmeal, they have spices, they have condiments. So it could be a good spot to get some of those items. The closest one to Tempe, and they're all over the place, but Broadway and McClintock is the closest one. Family Dollar, same thing. Lots of different foods there. $1.29 at some of them now, right? They're not quite the dollar store that they used to be. Walmart, we know Walmart has good prices on things. A big piece of it too is the cooking skills involved to prepare the foods that we're gonna get. So getting kind of a low expensive, not so expensive cooking set, like the one on the right there, at Walmart was $20 to get kind of some utensils and things like that. As Daphne noted, I oversee the Pitchfork Pantry. So we are student run. We are entirely self-funded. We get no money from the university and we get no space from the university. We prioritize providing our students with healthy foods. So when I purchase produce for one of our Monday distributions, that typically costs me $2,000, and we feed about 250 students. On the second Saturday of every month, I spend about $4,000 to get food from every food group. And it's always, I really try to make sure that we're serving that high nutrient dense foods. 1 in 4 of our ASU students report food insecurity or not knowing when their next meal may come from. So we are there to support those students in that time when they may need a little bit extra. So we hope that we can help to bridge that gap that exists. We also provide hygiene items, cleaning products, clothing, and you can RSVP on our website, www.pitchforkpantry.org. We bought our own domain, so you could find us. So if you have $20 for the week, this could be something that you could get. So rice, pasta, beans, eggs, frozen veg, canned tomatoes, a loaf of bread, peanut butter, bananas or apples are typically less expensive, and then oatmeal. And that could turn into all sorts of breakfast and lunches for the week. ChatGPT, host of ideas on different ways to make your budget stretch. It will give you the exact recipe. It'll give you all sorts of ideas. So definitely use that to help search and come up with some meal ideas. Sorry, that was fast. That was a lot, but thank you all.